There we
We're up to 7
go.
subscribers.
We are. We had a few subscribers pop up. It was like someone's wife subscribed to the channel. Tyler Ortega also subscribed to the channel the other night. So I don't know
Oh, you
who.
figured out how to subscribe. Nice.
Yeah, I don't know who someone's wife is, but
Is that Jacob's wife?
I don't think so. You're not subscribed to the pod on YouTube, are you? Yeah, my wife doesn't support things that I do, so.
I guarantee
Look,
you.
I'm telling you, my wife doesn't support anything I do.
Hey, she listened to the podcast the other day when you had the llama hat.
I know. She's listening right now too.
Is she nice?
Careful there, Earl.
I guarantee you, it's not my wife that subscribes.
She's-
So
She's my quality assurance person. So when I start calling, so I'm not allowed to say vagina plaster anymore. Or
Even though you just did.
there we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live on YouTube. Thank you, everyone, so much for being here. Apologies for starting a little bit late tonight, but we are here. We're ready to go. Thank you to everyone who has been stopping by the channel. We should have tweets and links and all that fun stuff out there across social media. So if you are joining us for the first time, my name, of course, is Seth. Thank you guys for being here. You guys, you see above me, you have Earl, Nieto, and Jacob Terrell, and we are Somos Mas. We do, of course, cover New Mexico United for our own website, somosmasnm.com. And we also do weekly sports discussion about other things from around the world of sports. And we've got a lot to get to tonight, so let's jump right into episode number 40. We're calling this one Earl Was Right?
Question mark? Question mark?
so I feel like that needs more than one question mark.
Well, we can do that when I go
Because
to do the podcast itself.
I think it
The
needs
guy
some
that knows-
exclamation marks in there too.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do that.
The guy that knows nothing about soccer pretty much had a clean sheet this weekend.
Sure did, Earl. Sure
I-
did.
That was a good analogy. I think I personally would have went with a hat trick there, but no, it's solid. It's solid.
All right, let me fix one.
Okay,
thing
we're
here real
calling.
quick.
We're calling.
No, you can't.
Oh. I gotta change. I gotta change something here real quick. I had a video loaded up on our highlights thing that we were gonna play, but we can do that in the second part of the show.
Oh God.
No, we'll get to that. We'll get to that eventually.
So I'm definitely not seeing the podcast on YouTube.
I'm
Did
on
you-
it. I'm watching it right
Did
now.
you refresh your screen? Swipe down to refresh, right? Not left or right.
If you go to Facebook,
I got
you
it.
You can
I
click
got
on
it.
the link that I just posted.
I blocked you on Facebook
What the hell, Earl? Why? I thought
I'm
we were
just-
cool.
because look, I don't associate myself with subpar.
Oh, okay.
Just kidding.
Even though my prediction was correct until literally the last second,
If you say so.
and then Brucey had to go ruin it for me.
Well, it's
I mean, is that why you voted for Santi?
I
oh,
would never do that in my life.
I say it's even for the show, guys. Let's get it. Let's actually start recording before we waste all the good banter.
I thought we were. Oh no, we're just live.
Yeah, we're just live. We haven't started recording the show yet. So, all right, let's get to it. Welcome back to another episode of Somos Mas. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Thank you guys so much for joining us here. If you're live on YouTube, we appreciate you watching. Joining me tonight on the show, as always, we have Earl Nieto and Jacob Terrell. We've got some housekeeping to get through first before we get into the show. We're gonna have a lot of content coming your way this week. If you're here live with us on YouTube tonight, you're obviously gonna get this tonight. The New Mexico United portion of the podcast will, of course, go live Thursday afternoon at 4 p.m. Mountain Time. Also this week on tomorrow, Wednesday afternoon, we will have the full. So Jacob and I sat down last Sunday and we did an interview with Adam Davis from the Too Loud Adams podcast and Loudon Stampede to get to know this week's opponents, the Loudon United FC, a little bit better. So the full audio version of that is going to come out tomorrow afternoon. We'll have the video of that up later in the week. I believe I'm going to have that ready on Friday afternoon. And then we're going to have written content for United Saturday. We're going to have post-match stuff that we're going to throw up live on the podcast feed late Saturday night after the match. We get our instant reactions. And then I think we're going to have a written recap as well on Sunday, hopefully. Yeah. Jacob's smiling and nodding there. So we should have a written recap on Sunday. So a lot of content coming your way this week, guys. Be sure to check all of that out. We're going to have it up on social. We'll have it on Facebook, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Give it a look, give it a listen. We'd love to hear from you, get your feedback. And you know that if you are here with us on YouTube every Tuesday night, that you can be part of the show. Tyler Ortega, big fan, subscribed to the channel last week. He was part of the show last week, and we got a lot of comments from him. Appreciate that. Aaron Reeder's been a huge part of the show, so shout out to those guys. Appreciate you guys so much for hanging out and being a part of the show with us. We've got a lot to get to tonight. Big week in the USL. Big week for New Mexico United. Guys, I have one burning question for you this week. Now that we've been out to United, we've seen the guys out in person, we've seen the players on the pitch. With us entering a post-COVID world or nearing a full reentry, what are you looking forward to going forward?
15,000 fans. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the entire stadium yelling almost like it was last weekend, only times 2.
Mine would probably be, and I don't know if it'll happen this year or not, but one thing that struck me that first year was, since I'd never been to a soccer game, I didn't kind of understand the soccer culture, was after that very first home match, watching the players go around and give hugs and autographs and selfies to just about everybody that stayed. And they did that every home match that first year, and away matches. You saw it a little bit in Colorado Springs, um, where they went to the traveling supporters there and shook hands at least. So I really want to see that parade around the stadium after a win, where they're actually uh, kissing hands and shaking babies.
Hopefully not too hard on the shaking babies part. Okay.
Hopefully in that exact order too.
Yeah, let's hope. So great answers there, guys. But I'm gonna have to go a little bit personal on mine, and it's gonna sound really selfish, but we've been out to United, we've seen things are opening back up. I've been a few places lately that have had signs up that says if you're fully vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask, which I think is fantastic. Of course, if I'm still in public, I'm going to be wearing one, for the safety of my family and my kids and things like that. But for me, and it happened this past weekend, my youngest son turned 6, and for the first time we were able to have an actual birthday party for him. We didn't get to do it last year. We got to have a bunch of his classmates and his teacher stopped by and some other stuff this past weekend. So I think that was just absolutely huge to see that many people, hanging out together in one place, being able to celebrate and just starting to enjoy life post-COVID again. So happy birthday to my son, Logan, 6 years old. Congratulations, bud. We survived COVID. You had a birthday party, and I'm really looking forward to see what happens the rest of this year. So sorry, a little
Aaron
selfish
Reeder
there
in the chat.
Oh, Aaron's
Welcome back, Aaron, by the way. Yeah, welcome
Nice.
back, Aaron. We enjoy seeing you. He wants to see more Brucey bangers, and I'm actually okay with that if it spoils Jacob's predictions.
I'm okay with it, even if it does. It's fine. It was a beautiful goal by a beautiful player to cap off a beautiful second half there. So I'm good with it. It's just I wish it wouldn't have given you bragging rights. That's all.
So yeah, of course, Earl, and we'll get into this here in just a little bit. Earl did nail his prediction from our last episode as far as what was going to happen up in Colorado Springs. So congratulations to Earl. And well, Jacob will give us hopefully give us an update here in just a little bit on our show game, predicting the lineups every week. So we'll get that from Jacob here in just a few minutes. But before we get into all that, there is a little bit of club news that came out here this week. First thing is both Sam Hamilton, congratulations to Sam Hamilton and Alex Tambakis, both were named to the USL Championship Team of the Week this past week. Congrats to those guys. Fantastic performances from both of them. Alex did an absolutely tremendous job Saturday night up in Colorado Springs. Friday night. You're right. Friday night. I kept forgetting that last week for some reason. Friday night. Honestly, I felt like Alex should have been in the starting 11. He was listed as on the bench, but still, Team of the Week honors. We've been talking about how good Austin has been all season. Sam had a good showing. Alex had a great showing, and I think it's about time United got the nod there. What do you guys think? Do you think it's overdue, or do you think this is the right timing for that?
Wait, am I misremembering, or did we have somebody in the Team of the Week last week?
I don't think we did.
I'll look it up. Earl, you talk.
So, like I promised on Sunday, I'm gonna go full Stephen A. Smith on you guys.
Oh, I forgot about this. Oh, I'm nervous.
So
I'm so nervous.
I've actually sat around, and if anyone from the club is listening, I am not trying to bash. I'm just trying to be honest. And it kind of irked me a little bit more seeing Alex Tambakis in the Team of the Week this week as well.
Oh, Stephen A. I love it. Stephen A. Earl.
At what point do we get to see Phil? Because I know one thing. Phil has not given up a goal in 82 seconds.
I mean, that's fair,
all right.
But
okay, kind of. Stephen A., let's calm down. Just 1 second, okay? That goal was not his fault. That was. Did you see the angle from the touchline that it like caught the post and bounced in? Like it was such precision, and he curled it around Tambakis. It was the back line just falling asleep. I don't know who to blame that play on, or if it's right to blame it on anybody, but Kalen and Yearwood were clearly not on the same page. Kalen jumped up to try to get him offside. Sorry, I have a dog whining. Yearwood didn't see him, didn't know what the plan was, whatever. And then they both were like, instead of playing out the match or playing out the play to play until the whistle, no, they stop. Both of them stop, raise their hand, say, "Hey, he was offside." "Oh no, he wasn't." "Oh crap. Okay, I'll get back." And so I'm not going to give Tambakis a demerit for that play when it was a great pass, a great run, poor defending by the back line, and a centimeter perfect shot.
So here's what bothers me. He gave up a goal in 82 seconds. Like, I hadn't even got my coffee or whatever drink I was trying to get at the time. It was still making.
I'm 95% sure Cody and Phil and Brucey, or not Brucey, Bowery, and probably Ketterer give up that goal. Like, it I understand what you're saying, and trust me, I was the biggest Phil guy when we signed Tambakis. I wanted Phil at week 1. I wanted Phil. I still want to see Phil. I still want to see Phil, but I'm not going to want to see Phil so bad that I'm going to throw Tambakis under the bus for a play that isn't his fault.
So here's what also bothers me. Late in the game, Alex Tambakis takes a knock. Visibly injured, clearly hurt. You could tell he's hurt. He's wincing in pain. He stayed on the ground for God forever.
Okay. Now,
why?
It's a game that we're up by 1 with 10 men, and it's soccer. They milk the clock. They always have and always will, no matter who it is. Cody was the best at it. So I can't sit there and go, oh yeah, he's definitely hurt when it it was pretty clear to me that we were just trying to see the game out.
So with that, do we see Phil with the knock that Alex Tumbakis took? Do we see Phil ever?
Unless it was a legit knock, then no. Like I don't not well, okay, let me rephrase that. You said ever at the end. I missed that part. So ever, yes, I think we will. Next week or this week against Loudon? Probably not. Although it is Loudon, and sorry, Adam, if you're listening to this, but it's Loudon, so maybe because they're not very good. But at the same time, you just get or a bench mention for team of the week. I don't think you're. I don't think you're going to be on the bench for the next match after that.
Yeah, it's going to take a
So
pretty
what does a
drastic downturn in Alex's performance to see Phil at this
like
point.
another 82 seconds?
Not even that. Like that's going to happen. That's football. There's not much you can do about it. You know, and we'll show the highlights here when we get to our actual recap, but honestly, I put more of that on the defensive line than on Alex.
Yeah.
And credit to Haji Berry too. Like I don't blame.
Yeah,
I don't put that on Alex.
I'm not taking away credit. I'm not taking credit away from Haji Berry. I mean, the guy almost scored 4 goals on us. I'm not taking that away from him. I'm taking the fact that one, yeah, our back line kind of screwed up. Number 2, Alex Tumbakis might have been on midfield because he was so far off his freaking line that he was practically sitting in my living room.
What in the world were you watching? He was not off of the line for that.
So, by the way, I've turned off Stephen A. Smith now.
Skip,
Okay.
let me holler at you, Skip.
On another note, Sergio Rivas was a bench member of the team of the week last week.
Okay. I didn't
I knew I
recall
wasn't
ever
going crazy.
seeing anything about it, but I could have just missed it.
See, I never read the bench mentions on there, so I know that I had to have seen it on social media. Otherwise, I would have never seen it. So we have got some kudos out there from the league already, but we had not seen one in the first team, and yeah, it is kind of like the only point that Stephen A. Earl said that I will give him credit for is it is kind of weird to see him on a team of the week, even if it's on the bench, when he gave up a goal, didn't get a clean sheet, and I don't have the stats up in front of me yet, but I'm not 100% sure how many saves he actually had.
Yeah, I think
Like,
it's
I know
credited
he
with
had a
4 or
couple.
5.
Really?
Yeah.
So I don't even remember it being that bad, but they must have been saves, but they must not have been of the oh my goodness variety.
There were a couple that were pretty spectacular.
I'll have to watch it again.
Yeah. But so yeah, I mean, we'll
Just skip the first 82 seconds. You know what happens there.
No, because I love that play, and let me tell you why. It's because it shows that there's improvements that need to be made, and it is something that is right there on video that the coach can be like, "What happened here, guys? What are you doing? Let's work on this and fix it." So I don't imagine it'll ever happen again, or at least it won't happen this year.
So, Alex's stat line for Friday night: 4 saves, 1 goal allowed, 2 clearances, 3 fouls, 1 aerial duel, 3 duels, 1. So good night for Alex. And to what you said earlier, Jacob, yes, at the end of the match, you're up 1 in a match. We're in a match where you're down to 10 men. You're gonna. I mean, you waste time anyway even when you have 11, but you're gonna waste a good deal more time. And unless Alex has a serious knock from one of those fouls, I don't see him coming out this week against Loudon. I would love to see Phil. I'm a huge Phil fan. I mean, he's been here long enough. He looked good. He's looked good the times that we've seen him. in the preseason and in the Cardiff match last year. But I just don't think at this point you can say, all right, Alex is going to come out. I just don't see it.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm glad that we can't see it, because the only way that Phil was gonna get the chance is if Alex came in and was bad.
Mhm.
And if Alex comes in as bad, then that probably means we are not sitting where we're sitting in the table. And because of that, I'm okay with it. And I do think that you know, where we had the shortened season last year, but now we're back to 32 games. Well, I think it was 34 the year before that, but we're back into the 30s in matches. Now, there's no Open Cup or anything like that going on, so it might not be as stretched thin, but it's still a long season that you will probably need to have somebody step in at goalie other than Tambakis. And for us to be able to have that person be Phil is just fantastic, to know that, yeah, okay, well, our starter is not in, but this guy could be our starter from what we've seen so far, anyways. And we won't miss a beat in that match, hopefully. So I'm happy for it, but I will say that I'm a little bummed about Big Phil not being in there. But speaking of people that I wanted to see in the starting lineup and hadn't until today, or until Friday, how about Brian Brown, guys? Can we give some kudos there? So, for those of you that didn't watch the match or aren't United fans for whatever reason you're watching this, or listening to this later on, United did win 3-1, thanks to a beautiful goal from Sergio shortly after the Haji Berry goal that opened it up. And then right after halftime, Amando with a redirect tap in. I don't know. It was a very, very nice goal off of a Brown assist. And then we mentioned it at the beginning a little bit. Brucey, in like the last 2 seconds, basically, with just an absolute banger that I don't think it could have gone any more into the corner. Like it was perfectly in the corner, and that's how you get your scoring there. But Brian Brown with the assist on the second goal, and then what we like to call the hockey assists on the first goal, and he had just some eh, beautiful run to get the ball in the first place, and then he holds up, lays it off to a wide, and I say that it was a beautiful goal, but then I look at the defense and I go, what are you guys doing? I don't understand what Colorado Springs was doing there. But anyways, gets it to Harry. Harry puts it in to the box, and it was just beautiful. It was an is a great match. And I forgot to mention that shortly after we took the lead, Tenare picks up another yellow card and gets an accumulation red card and is off for the rest of the match. So we're playing with 10 men for 35 minutes, I think. 35, almost 40
Yeah,
minutes.
50. Yeah, he got red. Yeah, the second yellow in the 54th minute. So yeah, 36 minutes. Well, not counting stoppage time. So basically 40, 43, 44 minutes with 10 men. And yes, I'm aware that Earl dropped somehow. A question from Aaron Reeder here in the chat, and we'll get Earl's take when he comes back. During the short week, Jacob, could you see getting a start against the Real Monarchs?
Yeah, I could see something like that. Like, or there's another one. Um, the next week. So we got Saturday the 12th, and then we turn around and play Wednesday the 16th against San Antonio. That's a theoretically a tougher matchup, but yeah, maybe we see him Friday in Real Monarchs after, or in Salt Lake after this weekend's match. So that's a good call by Aaron there. That I uh I hope that we see him then, and I hope that we can see him on some short weeks here every once in a while. And then Aaron chimes in again right after that with Brian Brown with several exclamation marks, because me and him both, I think, have been calling for him to start. A pretty good shift, but looked to leave with a hammy. I don't recall that. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't remember him coming off because of an injury. Did I miss something, Seth? Or do you know?
Thinking back, I think he might have like indicated something there, but it didn't appear to be too serious. Like he seemed to be moving okay prior to that. I didn't really see any let up as far as his movement or pace. So I don't know. I have to go back and watch it again just to take a look at that. And we haven't heard anything from the club. I mean, we typically don't,
Yeah,
but
that's the
yeah.
thing, is you don't hear anything from the club most of the time.
So I mean, we may not know about Brian's status until around 4:30, 5:30 on Saturday. So hopefully that's not the case. And as far as I know, other than Rosh, who we know is dealing with a quad injury towards the end of preseason, I know there's been some folks asking about Rosh on Facebook. Um, Hopefully he gets sorted out. I know Peter had kind of indicated he will be coming back fairly soon, but quad injuries you just never know. That's something that could
Yeah.
get aggravated. Same with a hammy; those things can get aggravated really easily, and you don't want to rush the recovery time on that. You really don't, because really, the only way to recover from those is rest. That's really all
Yeah,
there
it's just
is.
time off.
Yeah, it's just time off. You can't rush it back. If you feel, if they're out there in practice down at Mesa del Sol, and or even doing strength training or conditioning at the training facility, you feel a tweak, you feel a pull, like you're gonna shut them down. And because if you don't, you run the risk that guys could be out even longer. I mean, you look at other sports. For example, look at Julio Jones last year, only played in 9 games because he was dealing with a hammy. And like Atlanta, I think they tried to manage it pretty well, but like he would come in after taking like 2 weeks off. I remember like, he took 2 or 3 weeks off, came back, played 1 game, and like tweaked it just slightly, and he was out for another couple weeks. So you don't want to rush those muscle injuries, especially again the hammy, the quad. You don't want to rush those back. And so we all hope that that's not the issue with Brian. We didn't see anything. So last couple bits of news to get through, then we'll get to the comments here in chat. An article out this morning on krqe.com. Peter Trevisani gave an update on the potential of a soccer-specific stadium. And according to Peter, it looks like the results of the feasibility study are expected to be released in late June or early July. And it's sounding like rail yards is kind of like at the forefront of the potential locations here. And Peter goes on to say excitement was tremendous. Never seen anything close to that, talking about the new Colorado Springs Switchback Stadium. And that he goes on to say that the team was looking for a stadium to fit 10 to 15,000 fans at a cost of anywhere from 50 to 100 million. And if it goes outside of that $100 million range, then it's probably outside of their budget. Now, I know that the Switchback Stadium cost them somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think it was a 40 something around $40 million, I believe.
48. I think it was 48.
Oh, 50 million, according to this article here.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite a bit more than what we initially heard as an expectation in terms of cost. So I think that the biggest things out of this article here are, number one, feasibility study is going to be out sometime probably in the next 60 days, give or take. So we may know a site by the end of the summer. We may even see construction start by the end of the year at this point, from the way that this sounds. And I think this is exciting. Again, it's not a lot. It's not a huge deal. It's not saying, oh, we found a location, we've got a designer for the stadium, something like that. But it's it's progress, and it's something that I think fans have been wanting to see.
Yeah, for sure. I think that that when I came across that, was it yesterday morning? You said, I think it was
This morning.
was it this morning? Okay.
Yeah.
That that was probably the most interesting thing that most interesting thing that I've seen. in a while, just because it was kind of unexpected. I didn't expect to see it, and I didn't expect to get any news on it for a while. But it definitely looks like it is going to be soon. Maybe not a year from now soon, but a couple years, 3 years maybe. I think that there's a good chance that we're going to soccer matches in our own stadium, probably right there off of Avenida Cesar Chavez and Second Street. So um, I'm excited for that. For one, I think that's a great location. It's probably the best location that I can think of or that I've heard thrown around. So yeah, I can't wait for a few days from now when we have the feasibility study and see what they came up with there, and just fingers crossed that it goes the right way and that we can break ground on it soon enough and have something to look forward to. I've I was for, I've been for we've been fortunate enough to be media for the first 3 years of this league, and or for the first 3 years of this team, and every time we go up to the media center or a media area for the press box there at Isotopes Park, it's awesome to be able to do that. But you get up there and you're looking at it from a weird angle because you're at the corner over there, and then there's just United or Isotope stuff everywhere, and I've said it since day one that I can't wait to be walking up the stairs to the press box at the new United Stadium and have it be pictures of Dev after the first goal in history, and pictures of Kalen and Suggs and his son, and this just feels like yet another positive step towards it. So yeah, as far as not being or as far as stuff not on the pitch, that has been my favorite thing so far.
Yeah, big.
Oh my gosh, Earl
There
is
he
back.
is. Earl's back. Oh, you guys are switched. Let me switch your names around here real quick on the stream, but looks like
All right, let's see if it messes up again. My computer was like spazzing out and just like doing whatever it wanted. I've been listening the whole time though.
well, Earl, we've talked
Yeah,
about
you're
this. You
still
gotta
listening.
stop
I can
downloading
still hear
porn.
you.
Hey.
So
So
so yeah, we were just
I just
talking. Go ahead.
I just rewatched the clip where Brian Brown comes off, and it doesn't look to be injury related. I think Black Donnie has it right in the chat over here that it is. He just came off for a defensive mid situation there to shore up the defense and try to see the game out for the last 30 minutes. So just wanted to touch on that real quick since I just watched it again.
Yeah, again, it just I didn't really see anything, so I couldn't, it was hard to really think of anything. But with an injury like that, you'll typically see the player, react a certain way. You'll see them, slow down, kind of like indicating towards the bench,
Or go down.
or go down. Yeah,
Especially in that situation where we're up a goal, down to 10 men. He's gonna. I would think if he was injured, he would go down
Yeah.
and soak up some clock there. So Aaron, I like you, but I hope you're wrong here.
All right, and last bit of news. If you have not done so already, go over to uslchampionship.com, look for the goal of the week contenders, and throw a vote to Daniel Bruce. Bruce, he is currently sitting at 62% of the vote. So I'm sure we'll get accused, New Mexico United fans will get accused of stuffing the ballot box once again over on Reddit and across social media. But I think Brucey had a fantastic goal. I voted for him, obviously. Santi,
We all know Jacob didn't because
Yeah.
it killed his prediction.
That's not the case, Earl.
but hopefully
let's-
Jacob's not
let's-
too salty about that. So
No, I'm fine. Let's set the record straight though, Earl. Okay, you predicted that Moreno and Rivas would score. You were correct. You predicted a third goal coming from somebody. I think you said Swartz and Tenari, I think were your two options there, and you weren't necessarily right about that. But
Actually,
you did. I mean, you technically were right because Brucey came on for Swartz. So I'll give it to you. I'm not arguing that. But what I will say is that even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while, Earl. So kudos to you and your 3-1 scoreline, and even if it did take a last second banger from Brucey, you got it right. So I'll give you this last week.
Broken watch is right twice a day, right?
Seth, you got something going on with your mic there, bud.
Do I? What do you mean?
Yeah, it's like in and out. I can hear you, but it sounds like you're like this, and then you're like this, and then you're like this, and then you're like.
Oh, right. Might have been moving around a little bit too much, but anyway. Yeah, I said a broken watch is right twice a day. So
Yeah, exactly. Although I will give him so you mentioned it earlier, Seth. So we're doing this little lineup prediction game that I think this week I'm going to open it up. I'm going to post something in the next couple days, and I want fans to send me theirs. And whoever's closest out of the fans, I'll give them a $10 gift card to somewhere. Your guys' choice, the winner's choice. But as far as the three of us go, and the running standings. Now let's look at this. I think Earl has an insider here somewhere because matchup week 1, Seth 16, Jacob 17, Earl 9. Week 2, 17 for Seth, 13 for me, 10 for Earl. And then all of a sudden Earl jumps from 9 and 10 to 19 and then to 22. So, Earl, who are you talking to? Who's your in? Is it Brandon?
Who?
Who is it?
Who the
Who is it?
hell's Who the hell's Brandon?
Brandon Morris, the coach that we worked with the last Saturday or the 2 Saturdays ago.
Oh, look, we can't talk about this. Next topic.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I thought. No, but
I really don't have an in.
he just started. Paying
I
attention, that's all.
somehow magically decided that. That
Well-
was a really lucky guess.
Well, to be fair, your first 2 weeks you were coming up with formations out of nowhere, and apparently just wasn't paying attention to what we were actually doing on the pitch. So then you start paying attention, and all of a sudden, because I think the first 2 weeks I got your lineup like an hour before they were announced, if not less. And then the next 2, all of a sudden, I'm getting them like Friday night, Saturday morning, and I'm like, huh, all right, you're actually paying attention.
By the
now.
way-
so kudos to you. Kudos to you.
You got to check your email by tomorrow morning.
You're already sending one. All right. I'm not going to mess with your streak here. You've been the highest point getter the last 2 weeks, and you're still down by 7. So, we'll roll with it, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see.
But so to be fair here, to finish it up, week 4, all 3 of us were right there. I had the right players just in wrong positions. Earl had the right players with only like 1 wrong position or 2. I think I had like 4 in wrong positions or 3, and Earl only had 1. So Earl was the highest scorer with 22 out of a possible 23. So he almost nailed it. And then me and Seth both had 20, even though I had the right names, just in the wrong formation, and Seth had 1 wrong name, but everything else was good. So we're starting to figure it out. At least we think we're starting to figure it out. But I have a question for you guys. What's the first curveball that coach throws at us? Is it this week? And if so, what is it? Is it Illich starting for somebody? Is it Schmitty starting for Ryden? Like, what's going to be the curveball, and when is it coming?
I think this week is a good call against Loudon. I think we do see something. I don't know that I would necessarily say Schmitty over Ryden. I think we're going to see Kalen play every single minute again this season, unless he's hurt.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I just think he's too good to not have him in there, even against a club like Loudon. You know, you don't want to weaken your back line. really at any point. But I definitely think he's a step above Justin. I think we could see Ilya start this week, unless there's some sort of injury or something that we don't know about. I think we could see. I think we could see him this week.
Earl.
You see, I don't know. And I'm not going to even pretend like I know because I don't know soccer at all. Um, so I really don't know. But looking at ESPN, I do know that they screwed up and didn't spell Alex Tambakis' name right.
Yeah, I don't know why you use ESPN for USL news. It's the worst.
Yeah,
It's the absolute worst.
ESPN's awful.
Oh, I was just looking at like the stats and whatnot.
I mean, granted, the USL Championship broadcast can't even get shit right half the time. So, why would we expect ESPN, who doesn't even cover the USL Championship? Black Donnie's got a shout there. Touche gets in.
I wouldn't mind seeing Touche. We haven't seen him at all this year, really. I think he's going to be a pretty talented player, just coming in as a rookie. So yeah, why not get him some run? Um, maybe he comes in for Hamilton or Yearwood and see how he does, or we switch formations altogether. I don't know if we'll switch formations. I think this 3-5-2, if that's what you want to call it, it's kind of fluid there when we get going. But I think that formation is suiting us well. So my question was with Touche from the beginning was how he fits in, who he's going to be a backup for, and where we see him. Um, so Donnie, since you mentioned it, uh, if you're still there, go ahead and tell us who he comes in for and what position he plays. But I definitely would love to see that. I could see. I could see Touche coming in. I could see Schmidt for one of the other center backs back there, not Ryden like you said, but somebody else. Illich maybe for Mondo. Give Mondo a little bit of a rest, but for the most part, if everybody's healthy, our schedule is not too bad. We had a Friday game, so we have a little bit of an extra long week this week. We do have a Friday match the week after on June 4th, but for the most part, Saturday to Friday isn't going to be a huge deal breaker. So maybe he just rides it until Wednesday against San Antonio on the 16th. Maybe he just says, "No, we're in a groove. I'm not going to mess with the groove," and he just leaves the same basic starters that we've seen in there.
If anything, I would think Touche in for Sam, because I think Austin's been playing too good. He hasn't shown any real signs of like breaking down. No signs of injury or anything like that. And his performances have just been out of this world. So I don't see. Yeah, like I said, Sam for Touche would be my guess.
Yeah.
But
Donnie agrees with you in the chat. I'm curious to see if he would sit Hamilton after a Team of the Week honor. But who knows? We've talked about it ad nauseum this year. Is we're just so deep.
Well, that's a shout too there, Aaron. Seeing JPG getting rest, that's a possibility.
I'm sure Earl would love that.
But with Tenari being out with the red card,
that's true.
I don't think it happens. I mean, if you did sit him, if you did sit Juan Pablo this week with Tenari already being out, maybe and Azira, Cello,
Azira, Martinez, Rivas,
yeah, something like that.
I think you could see that. To me, Azira and Guzman are like 1-for-1 so far from what I've seen. They're very similar players. They're defensive-minded midfielders. They control the ball. They make good crisp passes. Aside from that first match where we saw them play together, and I think that first match where we saw them play together is where I look at it and go, I can't see these two on the pitch at the same time again. Like it's got to be one or the other. It can't be both, unless it's a situation like Saturday or Friday night where we're down to 10 men and we're seeing out a game, or we're up by 3 or 4 goals. If it's a starting lineup, I don't think you see Guzman and Azira in there. So Azira for Guzman and then Tenari being replaced by Cello, I could see that.
Yeah, I mean, there's possibilities there. It's going to be interesting to see exactly what happens going forward, what kind of decision Troy makes with the red card. Um, and I mean, we can talk about that too, whether or not that was warranted here in just a few minutes. But
Yes.
just real quick, after match week 5 in the USL Championship, we have we'll give you a quick update here in the standings. Mountain Division RGV still sits atop the Mountain Division. 3 wins, 1 loss on the season. They did lose this past weekend to El Paso Locomotive. San Antonio sits second on 7 points. They are coming off of a win over Birmingham Legion. New Mexico United, of course, sit third. Actually, we're basically dead even
We're
with
tied for
yeah,
second.
we're dead
Yeah.
even with San Antonio on points and goal differential. And then El
That's
Paso currently sits in that final playoff spot. Again, 5 weeks in, but again, El Paso has only played 2 matches to this point, and they did win their last match. We just mentioned against RGV. And then bringing up the rear, you have Colorado Springs, Real Monarchs, and Austin Bold. Again, another club that's only played 2 matches so far. So yeah, that's where we stand in the Mountain Division. Long way to go. 28 not more matches left to go for many of the clubs. 28 to 30 matches left to play. And so, I mean, let's get. We've been talking about it throughout the first half of the show so far. We're gonna switch on over to our highlights. There we go. And as you can see behind us, the highlights from this past weekend's match against Colorado Springs. And as you can see right now behind us, it's that here and just like it's going to be that goal right here for Haji Berry. I mean, Berry, yeah, you could see Kalen try to sneak up on him there, but it looks like he got played on by Austin or just barely by Kalen. And Barry's just got so much pace. We talked about him ahead of the match. We knew that he was going to be difficult to contain. And again, I don't put this on Alex at all. And I don't know that you can.
Stephen A. Earl is gone. We're not going back there. We're not bringing that up again. What I will say is, it. We talked about it before the match. Haji Berry is someone that is going to be a nightmare for everybody that he plays, including us, 3 more times this year. And I'm slightly nervous about that, but we did do a good job at righting the ship after that goal, and containing him, and for the most part containing. We talked about Tambakis' stats a little bit. He had more saves than I thought he did, but it was a good defensive game plan, especially when we went down to 10 men. I really thought before the red card that we were about to just run away with it. I don't know how you guys felt, but we score that goal. We kind of controlled the beginning of the second half, which is rare for us in the first place. Um, and you could just see the guys gaining confidence as time went on there. And then right after the goal, which you guys have already seen, but I'm watching now because I'm a little delayed. But we had just a dumb decision by Tenari, who got a yellow for another dumb decision right at the end of the first half, and it just killed all the momentum that I thought we were going to have. Now we ended up winning 3-2 or 3-1 still, but I think this could have been 3 or 4-1 shortly after that play. I think we could have piled on, and it's easy for me to say that because we'll never know. But that was just the feeling that I was getting, was we were finally finding our groove and we were going to really turn things around. And then next thing I know, Tenari's getting sent off.
Yeah, I don't think I disagree with you there. Coming out of the second half, or coming out of halftime, we definitely looked better. We had better ball movement. We had better movement off the ball. We were definitely making runs and putting more pressure on Colorado Springs. And I definitely feel like we didn't handle their press very well at all in the first half. And something just switched after the second half started, and we just seemed to be getting it a little bit better. Um, you look at the run of play and everything that happened there. you talk about the second goal from Moreno, and it was a great pass from Brian, getting down towards the left byline there, and then passing it back towards the middle, and
And he
just
just bodied the dude too.
yeah,
Like it was the definition of hold up play there. It was
yeah.
awesome.
Brian and Amando did a fantastic job of setting that goal up and getting it in, but yeah, I think the red card to Tenari kind of killed that momentum a little bit. And for a while, and you could see like we were trying to play sort of like a conservative counterattack after that. I mean, you obviously have to make changes after a red card, but yeah, we looked so much better up until that point, and you thought that we were going to really pull away.
Yeah, and then they had a spell there after we went down to 10 men. Well, first of all, you might have answered, Seth, and I just missed it, but were the two yellows warranted?
I don't remember the first one off the top of my
So
head.
the first one, there's a foul around midfield, uh, nothing major, and the ball kind of squirts away, and Tenari just boots it
Oh yeah.
basically into the stands behind the goal.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so I think he awarded it for time wasting or something like that. Just
Essentially.
yeah, a stupid thing. Like we've seen it, we've seen yellows given for that, in other matches, and so the when I saw as soon as I saw him doing, like, oh, that's just the dumbest thing in the world. Why would you do that? Like, there's no reason for that. Um, I think the ref did sort of overreact, but it hasn't been an uncommon thing for that to happen, for the caution to be given there. The second one, he tried to make a tactical foul. The play, I think it was Torres, he took down, had the run on him, was getting past him, and so you often see midfielders do something like that, make a tug on the jersey, pull the guy down as a tactical foul to slow down play, so that they can get reset. But to do that while on a yellow already is just dumb. It's just dumb. Initially I thought that JPG was going to get a yellow there, but went to Tenare.
So a couple things on that. Number one, I would have loved to see JPG get the yellow instead. Um,
But he didn't pull the guy
just
down.
because JPG wasn't on a yellow yet. Number two, I completely don't agree with that second yellow. So gravity is a real thing. So if I tug on your shirt while you're running forward, you're probably going to slow down and fall backwards. Instead, the guy dove 4 feet forward. So I don't think that second card was on Andrew Chinari. I think it was more of a dive.
He got beat and he pulled the jersey. That's going to be a yellow card 9 times out of 10. And the only argument I will hear about either of his yellow cards is that the first one, when he boots the ball, he does it just a fraction of a second after the whistle. So it could be deemed possible that he was going to kick that ball and try to play somebody on, but the whistle came and he didn't stop his decision to kick it. I don't think that's the case, but that's the only argument that I see that holds any water, is that that was what was going on. And as far as the second one is concerned, like I said, you pull a guy down from behind, even if it's kind of soft, it's gonna be a yellow more often than not. And also, I'm just kind of tired of complaining about USL refs. Like, I get it; they're not the best. Neither are MLS refs. Neither are Premier League refs. They might be the best, but they're still not perfect. And so, as you go lower down the ranks in soccer, especially in a country like America, where soccer is already the third or fourth most popular sport, fourth or fifth most popular sport, and then you have referees, like, has anybody ever refereed anything? It sucks. I've refereed little league basketball games, and you get yelled at all the time, and you're just trying your best. So I'm kind of just over this whole USL pro referees suck kind of agenda that's being pushed by a lot of fans. Because I get it. Yeah, there are calls that I don't like, but yeah, just get over it. Expect it. It's going to happen. And yes, I understand the squeaky wheel gets the grease, so you complain, and that's supposed to make it better, but it's just annoying, man. It's just annoying as hell sometimes.
I get what you're saying, and I completely understand where you're coming from. Being an Atlanta sports fan, I understand bad calls. I get that. It's just you have to look at what the players are doing. You have to look at the calls that are being made, and I mean, yes, there's some stuff that's just absolutely ridiculous, but you have to, as a referee, you have to make that decision. You have to say, okay, there's a limit here. Like, and I see what you're saying about Tenari on that first yellow. Maybe he was trying to. Okay, you could argue that if the ball had stayed in play.
Yeah,
But instead, the ball.
I don't agree with it. I'm just saying that you could
Yeah.
maybe look at it like that. But no, they were both yellow cards, and
Yeah.
that's that. I don't know what to tell you guys.
Yeah, no, they're legit yellows. I mean, you cannot pull someone down like that, even if it looks like a flop. I mean, it looked like he clearly got the back of the jersey. He clearly had his hand and his elbow, his arm in the player's back. He clearly had that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as how he falls, physics are weird, gravity's weird, but you fall back. If someone knocks you off balance from behind while you're running, are you going to fall back, or are you more likely to fall forward? So like right there, even though he grabs him, like he is leaning forward, his momentum's going forward. He's not necessarily going to fall back, So yeah, but either way, it was a tactical foul by him. A poor decision, already being on a yellow, is 9 times out of 10 that right there is going to be called a foul. You're going to get a yellow for that. And so it was just a bad decision, or bad timing, I should say. If he hadn't been on the first yellow, then that's perfectly fine. That's a tactical foul. He'll take the yellow and live to see another day. But it's just a bad decision, bad timing by him. That's all there was to it.
Agreed. And I think my biggest problem is when people complain about the refs, and I don't think the refs did that bad of a job. Case in point was this match. Like, I saw a lot of people bitching about the red card to Tenari, and I'm like, no, man, I'm pretty sure they're both yellows. Like, pretty much all day they're going to be yellows. So, but it doesn't matter. And part of what I loved about this match was that, you go down to 10 men and you think, man, this is going to be tough. It's going to be tough to hang on. But the guys just came together. There was a shaky run, like from 60 to 70 minutes maybe in the match. They had a lot of pressure. That's, I think, when he made at least 2 saves in that one stretch. But then right before that, right when we first went down into 10 men, and then after that, I felt like even though we were the team down a man, we weren't threatening, but we were in control. And you look at the comments that were made by coach and players after the match, that it was just a real tough moment, and they had to really come together, and they did. And you see them go down 10 men for 35 minutes and still come away with 3 points and get a goal at the end to tack it on, or to add it on. And I think it just really galvanized the team even more so. And so I could see them, I already talked about it last week. We had Austin, we won. Switchbacks, Loudon, Monarchs, Austin again on Pride Night on June 12th. I could see those 5 games being 3 points each for us. And the way this one started and then going down to 10 man, I was a little worried, but to come away with 3 points, I just think we can ride that momentum and grow off of that so much. And if I'm Loudon, I'm not looking forward to Saturday night.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough for Loudon, and we are looking good right now. We really are. Our We've been better in the final third. Our finishing has been better, and yeah, showing that defensive tenacity Saturday night, during again being down 10 men. I think that's big for us going forward. And while you said that um, we weren't necessarily pressuring or pushing forward, but we were in control. I kind of saw it a little bit differently. Um, we were playing well defensively, but when we did gain possession back, we didn't do a very good job of running down as much clock as we could have at times. You've got to be a little bit more decisive, a little bit more. I'm trying to think of the right word here. You want to be a little bit more precise in your movements and your timing and your passing. And there were instances where we just gave the ball back when we could have rode some more time off the clock. And so I think that's someplace that we do need to improve on. But I can't fault the guys for playing the way they did. And then of course Brucey's final goal. Yeah, Colorado was so far out of position. I mean, they were pressing for that goal. They were trying to find that equalizer, and that just leaving. They had nobody on the left side of that pitch. If you see when you see the highlight here in just a minute, and you see Brucey just full on sprinting down the field, and just nobody between him and the goal, and there were so many things that could have gone wrong with that shot. But Brucey's placement was absolutely fantastic. Putting that ball, in the upper 90. There's no way that the switchbacks keeper was going to get to that. And you could see Brucey's thought process, and you could see what everyone else was thinking too. Like you saw the keeper come out and try to make himself big, and you can kind of see him anticipating the ball to go to the far corner. But yeah, great decision by Brucey, and that just punctuated the win. And I saw someone comment over on Reddit saying it sure was nice of Colorado to bring the fireworks for our win.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of good things to take away from this match. But that's kind of how I felt about it. Like, we weren't say in control, but I felt like we were controlling the situation.
So I think I agree that we could have done a better job wasting some time, but aside from that little maybe like 8-minute stretch where Colorado had like sustained pressure, I just that's not to say my stomach wasn't in my throat the whole time in the second half, but there wasn't a moment where I was like, ooh, oh, we're gonna lose, or we're gonna lose the lead, I didn't feel that after like the 70th minute, which surprised me. I did see a lot of people give Devin like tremendous credit for the pass, and I think the hold up play was brilliant, and the vision was good. To me, the pass was about as easy as a pass as you can make for an assist. I mean, there was nobody in front of him. You just literally had to put it out for Brucey to go get, and Brucey does a good job. And I could have swore he was going to go low and away. That was what was going through my head, and then he just rips it just near post, top corner, and puts it in a basket right there. It was just a brilliant goal, and with him scoring, he only I'm almost positive he only has 3 goals for us. He has like a tap in and then 2 bangers. But Aaron asked in the
Sounds
chat,
right. Yeah, and that was Brucey's first goal since August of 2019.
Yeah, when I think that was the banger against Sacramento that just was incredible. And then I think he scored once at home on a tap in um, in that first year. But um, Aaron asks in the chat after this game, who do you think our breakout goal scorer is going to be? Knock on wood. Earl, I saw you answer it in the chat, but go ahead and tell the people what you said and why you said it.
So for those of you not watching on YouTube, I I think Sergio continues. I think he keeps on scoring. He has 2 goals in the past 2 games. Granted, this last goal was a line drive clear shot, but that doesn't take anything away from it. I do see him by the end of the season looking that far down the line. Um, Obviously, health holding up. Obviously, I definitely could see Sergio having 10 to 15 goals.
Yeah, that first touch by Sergio on that goal was like as soon as you saw that first touch, you're like, oh, he's gonna score. It's gonna be a goal. Like it was the perfect first touch for that situation, and I could see him scoring a few more. I if you come out if you say breakout goal scorer, um, I kind of go through a few different things there. Like if you're asking me who's going to lead the team at the end of the year, I still think it's Brian Brown. Um, had you asked me that 2 matches ago, maybe I don't think that. But I know he didn't score in this match, but we saw him score at home against Austin. You see him be involved. You see him get the start. You see him producing the start, which I think leads to more chances for him. And and I think by the end of the year, you're looking at or not Bruce, sorry, you're looking at Brian Brown as like Kevon Frater type, up there for the Golden Boot, but not quite, and leading the team. And the tricky thing about this is that there's like 5 guys I could see leading this team in goals, and then there's like 5 guys that I could see with 15 goals this season or more. But I'm going to stick with my preseason selection because I think it's too early to really change from that. And I'm liking what I'm seeing from Brian Brown, and I'm going to stick with Brian Brown. But I agree that Rivas could definitely get a few more. And if Brucey keeps getting playing time in this position that he's playing, and the way that him and Swartz are just bombing up those sides, um, I could see him get a few more as well.
Yeah, lots of good shouts there.
And I imitate your comment right there, where we have 5 or 6 people that can score goals. Um, I'm gonna keep talking as if Seth didn't hear me talking. Um, so I'm gonna, like I was saying, I'm gonna imitate what you just said, because all preseason long, all off season, during every signing, my statement was Coach Troy sold his soul to the devil to score goals, and that's exactly what he's getting. He has every opportunity to score a goal, whether it's from Brucey, whether it's from Brian Brown, whether it's Sergio Rivas or Armando. I mean, he can score goals from wherever he wants.
Yeah, you guys have got a lot of good names out there, and I think there's a possibility. Like you said, there's a lot of different guys that could. Someone that I think could be, and we haven't really seen him break out yet here in the regular season, is Cello. Cello had 3 great goals in the preseason, and I think that given enough opportunity, I think he could be up there. Maybe
So
10, 12 goals.
and the thing I have with Cello is that I feel like the first goal he scored in the preseason, where he was right there in front of the net, and I believe it was Swartz put in a cross that he knocked home. I feel like that was more fluky. I think that we'll see him score some on free kicks, and we'll see him with the occasional bomb, like the one against Colorado Springs, I think it was. And because of that, I think that his opportunities will be limited, even if his playing time is out there or is up there. Sorry.
Yeah, a lot of different ways it could go. Uh, it's all going to come down to who Troy puts in the 11 and the 18, and just how the run of matches go. I think as long as we see performances like we had the last couple of weeks, where we have multiple goals scored, you're gonna see guys getting up there with the goal totals, and I think there's a very real possibility that we could see um, the we could see a member of United get the Golden Boot this year. Yes, no, I
Oh, okay.
don't know.
Oh, sorry. I There were some technical difficulties. I didn't know if Earl was talking or not. Um, but yeah, I will agree that we could. The only thing that, like I said, the only thing that kind of takes away from that is the fact that we don't have that one at the moment. Anyways, we haven't seen that one guy stand out as the goal scorer for New Mexico United, and maybe that starts to be shown. But at the moment, with how spread out it is, I I think the goals are just going to be here, 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 and here, and not just with one person, and that's going to hurt us, hurt somebody from our team getting a golden boot.
See, I love it because um, right now, as it's going, Mondo and Sergio are playing this game of anything you can do, I can do better. Sergio scores a goal, Mondo has to score one. Vice versa. If Mondo scores a goal, Sergio has to top it with another one. I mean, last week at home, we saw Sergio score on a header. The next goal was Mondo score on a header. I mean, it's it's kind of entertaining. I like it. The fact that anything you can do, I can do better. So I'm hoping that translates into United chase for a golden boot.
Yeah, again, we keep saying long season is going to be a lot to watch, a lot to see here coming up in the next few weeks and months as the season continues to progress. And I think that's going to just about wrap up our Colorado Springs Switchbacks recap. We are running long, of course, and I think we should go ahead and switch on over to our preview of Loudon United coming up Saturday night out at the Lab. We are, as far as I know, the three of us are all going to be there again. We will be doing something live after the match, as we mentioned earlier. And you mentioned at the top of the show, we do have an interview that Jacob and I did with Adam Davis from Too Loud Adams and Loudon Stampede that will be hitting your podcast feed on Wednesday afternoon at 4 o'clock. So check that out. Adam, of course, is the VP of communications for Loudon Stampede and one of the hosts of the Too Loud Adams podcast. He sat down and gave us some insights on who we should be watching for from Loudon. And one of the names that we talked about was, of course, Sammy Sergi, former New Mexico United player. As we know, he spent most of last season out with a medical condition and didn't actually get to play, but he appears to be doing better. He did get his first goal of the season for Loudon last weekend. Loudon, of course, is coming off of two consecutive 2-1 losses to Miami FC and New York Red Bulls 2. And another name that Adam gave us, Jacob, was Mustafa, a guy that they brought in the offseason. Have you had a chance to go back and watch either of their first two matches to see anything outside of what Adam told us?
I watched a decent portion of their last match against Red Bulls 2, and I they just don't look good. Um, Nobody stuck out. in a positive way. I was happy to see Sergei get on the board, but even after that, they just kind of looked not that great. So I trust Adam and his opinions there. I think they're just kind of going through a rough time there. You know, they had a fan get in some trouble for some stuff that shouldn't have been done. So I think there's just a lot of things going on around that club right now that they're trying to work out. And we talked to Adam about how it is a we experience the USL through the prism of being a United fan, and that is a completely different prism than what Adam sees when he's talking about there's like maybe 100 people that really follow the club closely and follow the off-season moves, and maybe about a 500 or so that are into it during the season and stuff. And we've got thousands that follow it closely, and thousands upon thousands that follow it closely during the season. And you know he said that they had sold out their stadium for the first match, I think in 2019, at 5,000 people, and it hasn't come close since. And we're over here doing 8,400 or 647 for a COVID match, basically. So um, we experience the league through two very different eyes when it comes to Adam and us, and we talked about that quite a bit in the podcast, and how at the end we had him kind of turn it around and ask us some questions about who to watch out for, and then just kind of what it's like to be a New Mexico United fan and supporter and media. And so I think that Loudon, good things can come to Loudon eventually. Uh, I'm just not sure it's this season, and I definitely don't think it's this match.
I was just about to ask. Oh, there he is. Just about to ask Earl a question. He had popped off the screen. Um, Earl, have you taken any time out of your busy schedule to take a look at Loudon? And is there anything that you are looking to see either from us or them this weekend?
So no, I haven't had any time to take a look at any other team. I did watch a little bit of Pittsburgh Riverhounds on Saturday, but then it pretty much intersected with United playing, so I said, "And I'm out." Um, so no, during my busy schedule, I have not had time to. I might have time tomorrow,
All right.
maybe.
All right, let me ask you this then. What sort of reaction do you think Sammy gets when he returns to the lab? Do you think he gets do you think he's welcomed back, or do you think United fans just kind of look at him and say, "All right, well, you're not with us anymore." So,
I think we just overlook him really. Um, as fans, we overlook him. I don't think we really boo him. I don't think we really cheer him. I think he kind of gets like a neutral welcome. And if he scores on us, then yeah, he'll get booed definitely. But I don't think he gets like a popping ovation or popping or overwhelming jeer.
I don't know. I think I disagree there. I think his preseason last year won over a lot of guys, or won over a lot of fans, and then when he came out at the end of the season and had the medical condition that he couldn't play, and everybody was like, "Oh, that's why. That sucks, man. I appreciate you." So um, I think if he starts, which he started for them both matches so far, I think if he does start, he will get a small ovation. I'm not going to say it's like blowing the roof off of the place, but I think he gets an ovation when he starts. And if he scores, I don't think he celebrates. Um, and I think the fans don't boo him, but don't cheer for him either, if that makes sense.
yeah, I can see that. Sammy was someone that when he came in, we all had high hopes for him. We all thought he was going to be a top notch signing, that he was going to come in, score some goals for us, potentially spell Dev or Amando up top, and it just didn't pan out. And that's no fault of his. And you can't plan for someone to have a medical condition to where they basically can't play. It was. I read an article where he said that basically he basically just couldn't breathe. And so he spent a lot of time rehabbing and doing things like that. And so he's finally back at a point where he can contribute and can play. So congrats to him, for making that return and getting back and getting healthy. And I think he gets a welcome. I think he gets a cheer when he comes out. Obviously, if he's in the 11, he'll get a cheer, but I think that's about it. He'll be recognized, but beyond that, if he scores or anything, I don't think anyone's gonna be rooting for him at that point. But yeah, I think United fans, I think, are gonna be cordial, at least welcoming for these guys who have left the first time they come back,
except for Santi.
except for Santi, most likely.
And
And
that's not me trying to be a dick. That's not me trying to be a dick. I legit think that the fan base hates Santi now. Everybody else, even Ben coming back from with El Paso, I think I I don't think he gets booze like Santi would. He might still get some booze because it's El Paso, but I think the way Santi left and then the team that he went to at the time that he went to them was just like the perfect storm of hatred from a fan base.
yeah, I think Santi definitely rubs some folks the wrong way, but we don't want to dwell too much on that. We will see Phoenix later on in the season, so when we get to that, we'll give all the Santi hate the time it deserves. So, um, Loudon United. I mean, watching the highlights, watching the clips, watching what I have. Mustafa looks dangerous. He's a pacey guy, plays out on the wing, and I think he might be able to give us a little bit of trouble. But yeah, they like you said, they don't seem to be like 100% all on the same page. They don't have like a proven goal scorer yet. They don't have guys who are necessarily threatening every time that they touch the ball, and I don't think that changes this weekend against us.
Agreed. Agreed. Are we ready for predictions?
I think we are.
I think so too. It's getting a little later, and we already have gone on a little bit, but gone along a little bit. But I'm super excited for this match. I think this could be this year's equivalent to the 5-1 Real Monarchs match from year one. Um, and I really really just to see fans in the stadium again. We just saw it 2 weeks ago, but man, I didn't get enough of it. So I'm pumped up for it. I can't wait. I'm not gonna go first though. I'm gonna let Earl go first because he's Nostradamus over here, and I'm gonna let him go first so I can copy him.
Okay, so I think Jacob's internet is sucky, so that's part of my Nostradamus over here.
Why is it mine?
I'm gonna go. What?
Just go, just go.
Okay, okay. uh, I think we go 3-1 again. I think Sergio scores. I think Dev scores. And once again, that random person that comes off the bench could be a Brucey. I'm not making any guarantees, so Jacob can't hold me to this one. But I do think 3-1 with guaranteed goals from Dev and Sergio.
He's out here guaranteeing now, Seth. Uh, what do you think, Seth?
He's calling his shot. That's what he's doing. He's
Yes,
pointing
yes.
to the right field wall. That's what he's doing over there. And you know, Earl had a good run last week, but I don't think it's going to happen again. So, when you and I talked, Jacob, when you and I talked to Adam last week, we obviously talked to him prior to the Red Bulls match, and they don't have the Miami FC match under their belt at that point. And when we talked to him, I kind of said 2-1, 3-1 because I don't trust our back line enough to not keep a clean sheet. And the biggest part of that is that we still have a tendency to just switch off. at times. We kind of saw it. We saw it at the beginning of the Colorado match. We saw it the match prior. And as much as I would like to believe that that's been taken care of, it just hasn't been. We haven't quite figured that out yet. And because of that, it's not going to be a clean sheet, but I say we give up one. And I think I've solidified my position that it's going to be 2-1. And I think they get one. It'll either be like right around half or towards the end of the match to pull one back.
Well, I can't remember exactly what I said to Adam, but I'm relatively sure that I said last week that I can't predict a clean sheet until we get a clean sheet, and I'm throwing that out the window. I'm no longer thinking that. I think this is it. I think we get the goose egg. I think we get the shutout, the clean sheet. I think the defense steps up, does their job for 90 plus minutes, and we don't give up a goal. Now, when you ask me how many goals we get, I'm not as confident in my prediction. I'm confident we will score a goal or two, but I'm just not sure exactly how it's going to play out. But for the sake of consistency and for the sake of optimism and for the sake of the fact that I said that it could be reminiscent of the Real Monarchs game from April 13th of 2019, and the only reason why I know that is because that's the day my son was born. That was a 4-goal win, so I'm going to go another 4-goal win, 4-0, New Mexico United. Brown gets 2. Moreno gets 1. Rivas gets 1. And after that, you all of a sudden have three players with 3 goals each. And yeah, that's what I'm going with. I think when you look at the defense, just to kind of build off that a little bit, you look at the defense and you have one play from the last match that killed him. You looked at that the match before that. You have coming out of halftime, one play basically that they give up a goal. Everything other than that, they were sound. You look the match before that when it comes to El Paso, and it was at the death. They get 1 goal off of 2 perfectly placed balls. And in the match before that, they score on a redirected shot. So I think if you just limit pressure throughout the match and don't give them any little chance like that, I think we're going to be fine. I think we get the clean sheet. I don't think Loudon's as big of a threat as even Colorado Springs is, because they don't have a Haji Berry type up top that can destroy us like that. I like Sammy, but I don't see him making that kind of run that Haji did to beat us. And so, yeah, I think we finally get the clean sheet. And then I think we get 4 there.
Yeah, Sammy's
And
definitely not the pacey type that Haji Berry is.
So, yeah, that's what I think.
It will be interesting, though, to see how they play, how Loudon plays, though, because elevation. I mean, the announcers made the comment last game where 2 teams are playing above Mile High. Obviously, with us being at 5,300 and Colorado Springs being at 6,000 or something like that. Loudon is coming from Leesburg, Tennessee, or Virginia, where they're at like 347 feet above sea level.
Yeah.
So they're literally climbing Mount Everest to come play 90 minutes.
Yeah, I think honestly, I think I'd rather see them come here and try to play in the elevation than us go try to play in humidity.
Mm-hmm. Which we will see later on as we travel to Hartford and Lou City.
Hartford, I wouldn't worry about humidity too much. Lou City, yes.
And actually, I take that back. Hartford's here.
Yeah, Hartford's here. Charleston, right?
But no, Charleston's here too.
Right. Charleston's here.
We play 3 of the Eastern Conference teams here, so it's just Lou City that we travel back east for, and yeah, it's going to be. that just makes me feel so much better about my pick, Earl, that you brought up that, because I think about that sometimes, but I did not think about it in this particular instance, and it could be huge. Sammy might be used to it a little bit from last year, but he really didn't get any run in. Probably didn't practice much either. So, um, yeah, I'm feeling great about my prediction now after that, because as somebody who's lived in it his whole life and it still sucks, I couldn't imagine coming from sea level basically to come up into this stuff and try to breathe this thin air.
Yeah, it's always going to be tough. Anytime you have a club that's not used to it, I think we saw some of that, in 2019, with some of the clubs that did play at lower altitudes come up and kind of struggle with it. I think Cardiff kind of struggled with it a little bit too when they were here, because
Yeah.
again, not something that they're used to. Um, so yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see what happens Saturday night, 7:30 p.m. kickoff out of the lab. Hopefully, again, I believe all three of us are going to be there in person, and hopefully, if you're here in the chat or you're listening to us live on the podcast, hopefully you guys are there as well. We can't wait to see all of you back at the lab again. If you see us at the stadium, if you see us walking running around, come up and say hi to us. Tell us yours on the pod. We'd love to see you guys, get your thoughts on the game as it goes on. So I think that's going to just about do it for us this week. You got our predictions, you got our recap, and our preview. Jacob, get us out of here.
Yeah, guys. So it's always a pleasure to hop on and talk to you, even when Earl's internet sucks. And I'm going that it's Earl's because I don't know whose it is, but I want to blame him because I can. And he's pointing a giant stubby finger at me, but I'm gonna ignore it. It it's always a pleasure, guys. I love having people pop up in the chat. So we had Aaron Reeder back after missing last week. We had Donnie come in for a few words there. It's great that we're getting some feedback and we're getting some people involved, and I think this YouTube move has been good for us and being consistent with the times. So I don't even have to tell you. Next week at 9:30, we will have a recap of the 4-0 United win over Loudon, and a preview of the Real Monarchs match that will be coming up on Friday, June 4th. So tune in for that. I hope that we can have a few more people in here, and we get some more people listening. And guys, it's just, and by guys I mean Seth and Earl. I love having you guys on here. I love what we're doing here. It's great. It's great that we can be in person again at the matches, as we will be Saturday. I'll be setting up the field again, so I might be a little tired when we talk after the match, but I will be there and get to experience that again, and then hopefully get done a little bit earlier than last time, so we can have some time to chat and hang out before the match there. And yeah, we're 4 games in, man. It sucks because the off season, like look at the preseason. The preseason like crawled by, and then the first 4 matches of the regular season have just gone by in a flash. So it's like before we know it, it's going to be October 20th, and we're going to be with 2 matches left, and we're going to be sad again because we've got a long off season coming up. But we're not there yet. So Earl, congratulations to you on your predictions last week, and we'll see what happens this week. But check us out on social media, all that jazz. I'm not even going to bore you with it. It's late, and we went a little too long, so I'll just finish it with until next time, guys. Somos Unidos.
All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us here on YouTube. Aaron, Donnie, and everyone else in the chat, thank you guys so much for being here. We appreciate you guys each and every week. So yeah, like Jacob said, we will be doing something Saturday night after the match. If you see us, come out, say hi. If you see us after the match, we hopefully maybe we can get your thoughts and get you on the podcast, get that released, and we'll be back here again Tuesday night. So from all of us to you guys, thank you guys so much. Like Jacob said, be sure to follow us across social media. Keep an eye out for all of our content coming up this week, and we will see you guys next week.
Hit that bell.
Oh man, that was great. Thank you.